How many views it's all from medical students here? Do you know sex ratio? What is the definition of sex ratio?
The number of females per 1,000 males.
Thank you. What is the current sex ratio of Uttarakhand? 857, is it? 62? Let's say 70. So that's the current sex ratio of Uttarakhand state. And the rest of the girls are invisible. We don't know where they are because they were, as you know, killed in the war. This set of data is very striking when we are talking about women empowerment, when we are talking about the fact that somewhere we've already reached equality and more are taking leadership, more and more women are taking leadership in political life, economic life, social life. It's very important to just realize that the data is talking about something else. And I want to focus on the entire thing of invisibilization that has happened to this data. And I will also share my experience and work with all of you to talk about this further. This also reminds me of the recent field visit I did. So when I go on field visits, I typically go to schools and I have a discussion with school administration. I have a discussion with adolescent girls, communities, parents, school teachers, and so on and so forth. So I was on this field visit and in a southern state in India, and I was visiting 5 schools. We had these wonderful posters of male freedom fighters. And then there was one school which also had a wonderful chemistry lab. I think, when I go to these field visits, I also meet people who are really uplifters of my soul. And there was this principal who had really worked hard in getting some extra resources together to create a chemistry lab for students. And he was showing us the chemistry lab. Again, that lab had posters of, and also hand-drawn images of scientists. And all these images were also again of men, scientists, of men achievers. And the room was called Vikram Satellite. So I was curious, and I curiously asked the principal and some of the other gentlemen who were standing there that I don't seem to notice any woman achiever in the school, neither in the freedom struggle nor in the area of scientists that you put out. I think the question was probably not expected, so it was taken with surprise, something was slightly taken aback. It's probably they never thought about it. It's not that they did it on purpose, but it never came to them, but they realized that these imageries were all their imageries. And there was this gentleman who also, trying to figure out how to good response. He also told me that he indicated to an idol of goddess Saraswati, and he said that, here, we have a board exam. But my request to him was to show me women achievers and fighters. I was not necessarily talking about the goddess, but there was none. And I asked him that, why haven't you put? We have great women in our history. Why? What's up? So this gentleman said to me that, I was just overstressing the point. Or कोई भी मेहनत करके वहाँ पहुँच सकता है जहाँ एक important stage हो, and anybody can work hard and reach that stage. And being on the wall does not really matter. But I would like to say to you, it's something that educational research confirms, that being on the wall does matter. When I say wall, it's not the wall of the school, but being there in the texts children read. We're talking about girl students, we can talk about transgender students. What I want to stress about is the point of relatability. What children learn a lot of time is a lot of unsaid sort of subtext that goes on. which is repeated in a constant frequency, and it gives them, it creates the world, the world that they believe is true. It creates their self-esteem. It creates a sense of who they are. It creates a sense of what their gender is, what they are supposed to be expecting from the society, what is expected of them, and what is not expected of them. The limitation of their gender. And there is wonderful education and research available. I would really invite all of you to go back and look at it. We'd be happy to share some resources. But the point is that the question, the aspect of relatability in the text is very important. When children see, when a boy child sees that there are examples of, for instance, stay-at-home dads, or when a girl sees that there are examples of, say, astronauts, it widens their world. It tells them what's possible for them. And the contrary is also true, When they see that they are invisible from the text, it gives them a very different kind of message. That this is probably not the area we want to venture. And I want to talk about this wonderful research that was done. It was done with 20,000 students. 12,000 of them came from England. And the rest numbers coming from Australia, Belarus, Bangladesh, China, Indonesia, Pakistan, Colombia, Romania, Russia, Switzerland, Uganda, and Zimbabwe. So the research was that small children around 7 years of age were put together, and they were asked to draw what they would want to be in the future. And those drawings were then analyzed. And it was surprising to see that more times the number of boys wanting to become engineers compared to girls. And nearly double the number of boys of scientists as their future jobs compared to girls in the sample. It was also seen, since UK had the largest sample, it was also seen that in UK girls are far more likely to select careers traditionally seen as women's work, such as hairdressing, nursing, fashion design, while boys aspire to become mechanics, air pilots, army officers. It goes to show that how gender norms are created and built very early on in life. In fact, there are researchers which say that it's as early as 6, 7. So children become aware of their gender identities right when they're toddlers or 2, 3 years. But in terms of what their gender allows them or disallows them, what it enables for them and what it prohibits for them, this sense gets into a sort of a cementing stage by the time they're 7. And another interesting finding was that socio-economic background wasn't the only factor impacting children's decisions. With sportsmen, social media, and gaming featuring top of the list chosen careers for boys and feature within the top choices for girls. The choices were framed a lot around what they saw, almost subscribing by what they picked up from around. It also said that a lot of these children take cues from what they can be through what is available around them, and because also that's why I argue that we need more diversity for these children to be able to see in terms of whether it's career roles or other roles in life. And imagine a place, and I'm really talking about our rural communities and also our urban spaces, where the career choices, let alone the career choices, but the role models aren't as many. And in these situations, what is possible for this child to really draw aspiration from is the text. Is the text he or she is reading? Is the imagery he or she is looking at? And the symbols, direct, indirect, that he or she is receiving messages from. Have you seen Calvin and Hobbes? Do you guys know about it? when I was growing up, it wasn't like the thing. But this is generally, this cartoon is generally said that it's for about 5 to 7 years old. And I'm going to read this out. So it's a cartoon strip. It's just trying to be funny. It's just trying to be witty. But you see a lot of undertext that goes on. It goes on to say how sports is not really the great, a natural field for girls. How if you're a boy and if you play sports, then it's easy. So it's connected to a kind of aggressive idea of a man who can then do beer commercials. So the idea that I'm trying to drive home is that this invisibleness in the text is very important to address. And here are some examples which tell you how this is from various sources, and this is an analysis of textbooks of different nationalities: Pakistan, India, Syria, Bangladesh, US. And this tells you how generally women and men get depicted in text. So this is also telling you how this messaging of what you should be as a man and what you should be as a woman is getting built very, very indirectly, but very much there. So if you see the second pointer, which is talking about Iran, and I'm just giving it in random order. Number of males in a subject position. So we studied in English, subject is about that person or object about which the sentence is created, right? So number of males in subject position were more, and number of females in object positions was more. 95% of the reading text were about males. In Syria, you see women coming off as victims. In the second last bullet point C, attributing greater variety of jobs to men than women. And the last one, key social role to men, and we were talking about it a while ago. The key social role to men, caring and nurturing to women. So these are notions that have been handed down to us. But we also know that today, as the world is changing, we may want to talk about participation in the household rather than just saying that a caring role belongs to women. So one thing that I again want to reiterate is that it's very important to look at the text for children and youth from a gender point of view to see that it's just not reducing the power relationships that you see in the society between men and women, but it's also creating an opportunity to relook at these relationships, to create a world which is really fulfilling for each and every one of us. Now let me step aside a little and say if this is what you receive as a school educator, for instance. This is the text you receive, and what you do. There's another possibility as an educator. As an educator, you can always critically engage with the text. When a leader of an institution realizes that gender equity, gender equality is an area that she or he has to be committed to. If they are open about reflecting on their experiences, on looking inside of the biases maybe they create, and without really passing a comment or a judgment on yourself. But if they're aware of the biases they carry, if the biases they put into practice, I think half of the journey is really covered in one single step of making an institution a more equal place. So I think I'm going to stop at that in sort of reiterating that the important role that leaders of the institution have in recognizing that there are biases, which is possible by self-reflection, which is possible by just going up to people and talking to them, which is possible by reflecting that if your school or your college has, an event coming up, or even in general day-to-day function, do you feel more comfortable in giving the leadership and decision to maybe a group of men more than a group of women? So it's just about taking a step back, reflecting, understanding the landscape that you're creating, and reaching out to maybe other experts, other practitioners in the field to see how can you stop this and start to create the paradigm